prior to turning 1, the neighbours saw that my 3 older sisters and I were being left alone at home, and my mother had actually abandoned us. The welfare state came and took us away, and we were put into welfare for 3 years. My father came and got us out of welfare, and then it wasn't such a good upbringing because violence and alcoholism played a huge part. My father came home drunk one night, and my sisters had left home at that stage, and we got into a fight, and it wasn't very pretty, and I ran away. I was on and off the streets of Auckland, Queen Street, and around Grafton Bridge area. I often asked myself, I wondered where I would be when I was 21 or 22 as a teenager. At one stage on the streets there was a group called Youth for Christ. They were coming onto the streets and they were meeting up with young kids like myself. I saw another side of life and ended up accepting Jesus as my Lord and Saviour at that stage. One day I was walking down the top of Queen Street and I saw the Army recruiting office, so I walked into this office and I saw a Maori guy behind the counter with his beret on, and I saw a tank behind him on the wall, and it was a Scorpion tank. It looked fantastic. At the age of 16, you can imagine how I felt about that. I said, I'd love to drive one of those, and he said to me, he said, well, you need your school C English, possibly maths, and then you'll be in 6 weeks. We've got an intake. And I said, oh, bro, I haven't got anything like that. And he said, why not? And I told him my story. I said, well, I've been on and off the streets. Bit of a runaway, bit of a glue sniffer, bit of a street kid, but I've tried to sort my life out recently. And he said something to me that I think a lot of young people need to hear. He said to me, he said, well, look, it sounds like you need a break. And I said, yeah, I could do with one of those. And he said, well, if you give the Army 100%, I'll tick the boxes and you'll be in 6 weeks. After about a year in the Army, the New Zealand Army was deployed to Bosnia. So I was on the first rotation to go to Bosnia. We were under fire on various occasions. We saw a lot of things that humans shouldn't be doing to each other. What it made me realise is just how lucky we are in New Zealand to have the country we have. Just to be able to go out and walk on the grass and not be afraid of stepping on a landmine. To be able to sit here in Te Hununui Beach in Nelson and appreciate what we have. Although it wasn't the best of upbringings, it was actually, I learned a lot from my past. I realised that no matter what happens in your past, you don't have to blame that for where you are now. It doesn't matter how successful you are. It doesn't matter how many material things that you have in life. What matters in 100 years from now is the effect that you've had on those that you've met in your life. When I look back and I see the journey that I've been on from when I was in the gutter as a young baby, naked, being taken away to the welfare state, right through to where I am now, if I really analyse that, I can see that the Lord has been with me every step of the way. So his support as well in my life. I certainly wouldn't be where I am without him.